Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Engineering Academy and ACE Online. Myself Ramesh Masoona. In this video, I am going to talk about the key topics to get a success in GATE 2026. And also I am going to discuss about the 60 days preparation roadmap for GATE Computer Science and Information Technology paper. Here we will discuss a subject by subject what key topics to be focused. Let us start with programming and data structures. As per my knowledge, you first focus on storage classes where you can get minimum 1 mark and maximum of 2 marks. The next most important topic is pointers, where you have to focus on basics of pointers. Then you can focus on advanced topics on pointers like pointers to strings, pointers to structures, pointers to array. Again in that, pointers to one-dimensional array, pointers to two-dimensional array, pointers to three-dimensional array. Then you have to focus a topic on recursion, and recursion is most important topic where you have to focus recursive algorithms and their time complexities in algorithms point of view, and stack applications using recursion in the data structures and also recursive programs in programming languages. All three types of questions you can cover in one single topic in recursion. Then if you have a time, you can focus on static scope and dynamic scope. Then you can focus on the data structures. In the data structures, the most important topics is on nonlinear data structures, especially trees, where you have to focus on k-array trees, binary search trees, AVL trees. In these trees, all 4 topics, you can expect questions with respect to time complexities, and you can expect questions on height of a binary search tree, AVL trees, and also you can expect 4 types of questions with respect to time complexities on find operations, that is called search, insert, delete, and construction operations. And also you can expect questions on combination of trees with combinatorics. Like previously a question asked how many ways you can construct a binary search tree with respect to combinatorics. And next you have to focus on nonlinear data structures, hashing, where you have to focus on collision techniques, on linear probing, quadratic probing, and double hashing. Next you can go with the linear data structures where you can focus on stack applications like infix to postfix, infix to prefix, these kind of stack applications. And also you can focus on queue operations, linear queue, double-ended queue, and NQ. This is all about programming and data structures. Then next you can focus on algorithm subject. In algorithm subjects, most important topic is sorting and searching. In searching, we have 2 algorithms, binary search and linear search. And you have to understand how binary search is useful in insertion sort and in heap sort, its applications, how it is to be used, there you can focus. Next, you should focus on shortest path algorithms, where you have to focus on Dijkstra's algorithms, Bellman-Ford algorithms, all path shortest algorithms, so all related to shortest path algorithms. Then you can focus on spanning trees, where you can focus on Prim's algorithms and Kushkel's algorithms and their implementation. And also you can focus on asymptotic notations. There are 5 notations. You can practice questions on asymptotic notations. Then you can focus on time complexities of recursive algorithms, and which is similar to the recursion topics in programming and data structures. Then when it comes to greedy method, you can focus on job sequencing, Huffman coding, optimal merge patterns. And then dynamic programming, you can focus on matrix chain multiplication and longest common subsequences. This is all about the algorithms. Next, I suggest you to focus on database management system. In a database management system, you can expect questions on ER to relational models, means how you can translate ER models to relational models. And you can expect questions on foreign keys, and every key point is important on foreign key, like every basic point also they can frame a questions. And we have seen some of such questions. And also questions related to checking functional dependencies, whether a particular functional dependency is satisfying or not satisfying. And also we can find questions on additional FDs. And when it comes to the normalization and normal forms, you can expect a relation be given with the dependencies and ask you to find normal form of the given relation. And you can expect questions on decomposition properties, that is lossless joint decomposition, dependency preserving decomposition. Previously, most of the times questions asked on lossless joint decomposition. This time, we can expect questions on dependency preserving decomposition. Majority of the questions from the DBMS asked on the topic of relational algebra, where especially questions related to joins, divisions are having more importance. Undoubtedly, SQL is very, very important. Focus on simple topics to complex topics. Means even simple basic fundamentals to complex queries like nested queries, correlated queries, exist class, set manipulation operators, and set comparison operators. Every topic you focus on it. They can give complex questions from SQL, and majority of the students, they will confuse and put wrong answers in SQL, where you have to focus more and concentrate, and you should answer correctly. Only thing is, if you know how the query is going to be executed, if you know the process of evaluation, answering SQL questions are very, very easy. Next, you can focus on conflict serializability. This is one of the most important topic. Repeatedly, you are getting questions on conflict serializability. And if you want to get a questions, like if they wanted to give a questions on conflict serializability, they may ask you questions on number of conflict serializable schedules. And questions are not asked so far on view serializability. There is a possibility of getting questions on view serializability, and also you have to focus on two-phase locking protocols, deadlock handling, deadlock prevention, deadlock detection and recovery, and also you can expect questions on timestamp based protocols. Where in timestamp based protocols, so far theory questions were asked. Problematic type of questions also possible. Next, when it comes to the indexing, you can expect questions on B-tree insertion, deletion, and B-tree orders, where less number of questions were asked, but majority of the questions were asked on B plus tree, orders, but few questions, very few questions on insertion and deletion. There is a lot of scope is there for getting questions on insertion and deletion on B tree and B plus tree, because less number of questions asked so far. This is all about database management systems. Next, I suggest you to focus on theory of computation, TOC. In TOC, you can expect questions on clean closure operations, language recognition by DFA, regular expression from finite automata, identification of languages, whether the language is regular language or not regular language, questions on minimum state DFA, recognition of context-free languages, regular and CFL properties, means regular language properties, CFL properties, recognition of language, what language based on the grammar, and identification of whether it is deterministic context-free language or context-free language. And more focus you should give on closure properties of REC and REL, and also undecidability. But when you see the last 4 years papers, the most trending topic is regular expressions from finite automata. You will be given a finite automata, you have to find regular expression equivalent to that finite automata. And next, you can focus more on minimum state DFA. Minimum state DFA means you can expect numerical answer type questions where DFA is given and how many minimum states are possible in the minimum state DFA. And also you can focus on closure properties of context-free languages, where you can expect more questions, right? Closure properties on CFL properties. These are some of the topics where you need to focus more. Next, I suggest you after TOC, because TOC linked with compilers, after TOC, I suggest you go with the compiler design. In a compiler design, almost you are getting the same kind of questions every year. Means not much new things are expected to come, But if any new things are expected to come, I'll tell you where it is possible. Like what are the kind of questions asked on compiler design? In compiler design, they are asking questions on finding the number of tokens in the lexical analysis chapter. And when it comes to the context-free grammars, we need to focus on how to find precedence and associativity of operators based on the grammars. And questions were asked on eliminating left recursion, but so far questions are not given on left factoring. So scope is there for asking questions on left factoring. And also questions were given on first and follow. But whatever the questions given in first and follow are simple questions so far given. If they wanted to confuse you, they can give you some complex grammar and they can ask you what is the first set and follow set of a particular non-terminal, where they can ask you some complex questions. And one more is questions were asked on LL of one parse table entries, means you will be given a partial parse table and some of the entries are missed and that are numbered. And what is possible in that particular entry? That kind of questions also possible. And also you can expect questions on conflicting states and number of conflicting entries in LR parsers. And there is a lot of scope is there to ask such kind of questions from the LR parsers this time. And next you can focus on syntax directed definition and translation scheme. In syntax directed definition, you have to focus on S attributed definition, L attributed definition, how to find the difference between S and L attributed. And if SDD is given, how to find an output for the input sentence. If translation scheme is given and ask you to find output for the input sentence. These are the questions regularly occurring. So you should focus on more on SDD and TS. Earlier in the GATE examination, least number of questions asked on intermediate code forms. Like we have linear intermediate representation, structural intermediate representation and hybrid intermediate representation, where we have to focus on 3 address codes, static single assignment and postfix notation, syntax trees, directed graph, directed acyclic graph. Questions were asked on directed acyclic graph. But less number of questions were asked, but more scope is there for asking some different kind of questions on intermediate code forms. So please focus on it. And also you can expect some theory questions on optimization, like what is strength reduction, common sub-expression elimination, dead code elimination. These kind of questions are possible. And more importantly, live variables. Which variables are live incoming into the block, which variables are live outgoing from the block. And also you can focus on data flow equations. This is all about compilers. Next, I suggest you focus on digital. Next, I suggest you focus on digital logic design. In digital logic design, the most important topic is 2's complement representation. 95% of chances are there of getting 2's complement question. And next, most important topic is multiplexers, where you can expect a multiplexer circuit. And they will ask you to find regular expression for it. They will ask you find Boolean expression from it. In the BTech, you can expect questions on Boolean expression to multiplexer design. But in the context of GATE examination, they will give you a multiplexer circuit and ask you to find the Boolean expression for it. And next most important topic is counters, where they may ask you what is the modulo of the counter. In short, we call mod. They will give you a counter circuit and they will ask you what is the modulo of the counter. And also it is possible that if they give the counter circuit and assuming the counter is designed using 3 flip-flops, they may ask you questions on what is the output of first flip-flop, output of second flip-flop, output of third flip-flop. These kind of questions are more important. And the next most important topic is number system conversion. Previously in the GATE examination, they used to give the number system conversion for the integer. Now latestly it is asking on the fraction. Let us say 0.25 base 10. 0.25 base 10 is equals to dash in base 8. These kind of questions are asking. So means more focus on fractions, because integer conversion is different, fraction conversion is different. Find the difference and do accordingly. And the last important topic is simplification using Boolean algebra and K-map. K-map simplifications, where you can expect 3 variable map, 4 variable map, very rare 5 variable maps. Then I suggest you focus on computer organization, where the topics are overflow condition, IEEE standards to represent floating point data, memory size expansion, and also ROM design, read-only memory design. And questions you can expect on refreshment technique in dynamic RAM, 3-level memory hierarchy, cache mapping techniques, that is write through cache, write back caching, instruction cycles, addressing modes is one of the important topic, and instruction code expansion, pipelining conflicts, read after write, write after read, write after write conflicts, hardwired control unit characteristics, finally direct memory access. When it comes to the overflow condition, in the mind, without putting pen down, just to calculate it, means add two numbers. If it is exceeding the size, then we can say overflow occurred. Again, overflow, again you can expect overflow occurred or not with respect to signed numbers, unsigned numbers, division overflow, these kind of things you have to focus. And when it comes to the cache mapping techniques, whether it may be direct mapping, fully associative, block associative mapping, first you have to find the tag field so that you can easily answer the questions. And also you can focus on pipelining conflicts. In pipelining conflicts, you can find some questions like number of branch instructions, where you have to focus on number of branch instructions, number of non-branch instructions. For non-branch instructions, stall cycle is not required. For branch instructions, stall cycles are required. Accordingly, you have to solve the numericals. And also you can focus some questions on DMA, where a bus transfer possible or cycle steering possible. These are some of the key areas where you have to focus the questions on computer organization and architecture. Next, you should focus on operating system after digital and COA. In operating system, you can focus questions on page replacement algorithms, process scheduling algorithms, disk scheduling algorithms, inter-process synchronization. In inter-process synchronization, you should focus on where to take preemptions, where not to take preemptions while solving the numericals. And also clearly find the difference between counting semaphores and binary semaphores, where most of the students are going to get confused. And also focus on non-contiguous MMTs, paging, MLP, segmented paging, process state diagrams, and dual mode of operations by the CPU, and threads. Next, you can focus on computer networks. Computer networks is one of the subject that will decide your rank. As per my experience, I have seen some lakhs of students where a student can able to do questions from computer networks, can able to crack the GATE exam easily. Why? Because most of the students are failed to solve questions from computer networks. If you can focus more on computer networks and questions related to it, and this is most weighted subject, if you can able to focus and if you can able to solve the questions, treat it as your rank is done. In computer networks, these are some of the key topics. In DLL, flow control techniques, SNW, SW, GBN, ARQ, SR-ARQ, and error control techniques, access control protocols. In network layer, we have a routing algorithms, fragmentation and reassembly, IPv4 addressing, classful and CIDR, packet switching. In transport layer, we have connection management, wraparound time calculations, congestion controls. In application protocols, in application layer protocols, you can focus on FTP, SMTP, IMAP, POP, HTTP, DNS. Especially, I suggest you focus on subnetting and supernetting, means find the difference between subnetting and supernetting, where most of the students confuse. And also it is recommended to solve questions on GBN ARQ and SR-ARQ. Next, we will focus on discrete mathematics. Discrete mathematics is one of the important topic where we have 4 topics: logic, graph theory, combinatorics, and set theory. Questions may not be asked on logic, but definitely you can expect questions on graph theory. Graph theory is one of the important topic where you can expect minimum of 2 marks and maximum of 4 marks. In that you have to focus on connectivity, basic theory questions, and spanning trees, which is a combination of discrete mathematics and algorithms. And here the topics to be focused on: tautology, rules of inferences, multiple quantifiers, recurrence relations, generating functions, sum of degrees theorem, planar graphs, graph coloring, power set, partial ordering, lattices, and generators. And the most trending topics are recurrence relations and generating functions. Examiner can frame tough questions on multiple quantifiers and also can ask questions, tough questions on recurrence relations. There are certain examples where in the previous GATE, a student who prepared normally may not answer questions on multiple quantifiers and recurrence relations. So I strongly suggest you focus more on multiple quantifiers and recurrence relations. Next, when it comes to the engineering mathematics. In engineering mathematics, you can get questions on basic integration, eigenvalues and eigenvectors, conditional probability, limits. Especially in engineering mathematics, in discrete mathematics, the counting principles linked to probability are most likely to appear. And one more thing, when it comes to the LU decomposition, they might ask you the entries of L matrix and U matrix. Now we'll focus on last 60 days preparation. What to do in these 60 days, because GATE exam is there in another 60 days. How to manage the time, what to prepare, where to focus, how to do revision. These are the frequent questions every student is asking. I'll give a complete preparation plan. By following strictly this preparation plan, you can easily get a rank. Let me start with the morning 5 a.m. I suggest you, every one of you, please wake up early in the morning 5 a.m. Early in the morning 5 a.m. Once you woke up, right, just do your regular activities. Once it is completed, means just fresh up and all. Then I suggest you read short notes. Read short notes. If you haven't prepared, I suggest you to prepare first. What is the importance of short notes? Because if a question comes, it should be struck in your mind. What is the topic? What key point? Based on what key point questions were asked? This is to be suddenly struck. Because in the examination, 65 questions are there of different subjects, of different topics. And your mind should switch between the subjects and the topics. Suppose first question might be discrete mathematics, second question might be operating system, third question might be computer networks. Within the time limit of that 180 minutes, your brain should switch quickly between the subjects and the topics. That is possible only if you train it properly, and immediately whenever a question comes, it should strike what subject, what key concept and everything. That is possible for the regular revision of short notes. If you have prepared, happy. If not prepared, just go on it. Do it as a regular activity. First, you do revision of short notes, right? And I suggest every day in the morning 9 a.m. I suggest you to write one test. I suggest you write one test. Might be topic-wise test or grand test or mock test. First, I suggest you finish topic-wise test and grand test of each subject. Means you make a revision of one particular subject on that day, and topic-wise test or grand test related to that particular subject, I suggest you to write it. Here I will tell you one thing: do mistakes, learn from the mistakes and not to repeat the mistakes. Once test is completed, just analyze where you are strong, where you are weak. Based on that analysis, you revise all the topics where you made a mistake. And this one, try to finish by the lunchtime. Means by 1 p.m. You finish analysis of the test and topics related to wrong answers, that you finish it. That in the afternoon after the lunch, like from 2 p.m, I suggest you go for any of the subject. Means you choose the subject. Go for any of the subject means don't go with only one single subject every day. I suggest you give a round robin technique. Today you have studied discrete mathematics. Tomorrow I suggest you go with some other subject. Like today you have studied programming. Tomorrow you studied data structures. Day after tomorrow algorithms. Next day DBMS. Next day TOC. Next day compilers, digital, COA, operating system, computer networks. This way you proceed it. You make it a round robin. Every day one subject. And I suggest you from 2 p.m. to the something around 6 p.m. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. you make a revision of one particular subject. And then little gap around 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. or 11 p.m. 10:30 or 11 p.m. you give a revision of second subject. Means every day 2 subjects. It means there are totally 10 subjects are there. So means after every 5 days, the first subject will come for the second revision. But I suggest you make quick, fast revisions and do fast calculations. So over the time, it will become habit and it won't take even 4 hours for your complete revision. Okay. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. one subject, 6:30 to 10:30 one subject. Had a dinner and I suggest you have a proper sleep 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. 11 p.m. to 5 p.m. Sorry, 5 a.m. 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Don't sleep 11 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. Sleep 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. So 6 hours of sleep is mandatory. But some of the people says study for 24 hours. If you study for 24 hours, your brain will stop working. Yeah. Don't do that. Give a proper sleep even before the day of exam. Okay. 6 hours proper sleep is mandatory. If 6 hours you sleep properly, then your brain will be fresh and it will be activated. And again, in the second day, morning 5 a.m, start short notes, one test, self-analysis, then revise 1 or 2 subjects. First subject, second subject, and then go for the sleep. This schedule you follow for the month of December. By the December month, I suggest you to finish topic-wise tests and also grand test related to each subject, right? And most importantly, the January month. In the January month, what I suggest you is January 30 days. I suggest you every day write one mock test. Every day you write one mock test. Every day. When to write mock test? 9 a.m. you start. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. means 3 hours exam. Every day you write one mock test consisting of 65 questions and spend total time. And you should not be hurry and you should not guess any answers. If you guess any question, answer for a question, definitely that is going to be wrong. So have a condition, never guess, never guess. Okay. So write a exam every day in the morning 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. One mock test consisting of 65 questions, 3 hours you sit in the exam, and while writing the mock test, do 3 revisions. Habituate of making 3 revisions. First one, you see the question, you feel it is easy and you can able to solve by putting pen down or sometimes without putting pen down or with little calculations. If you can able to solve it and go for the next question. Suppose you feel a question which is not able to solve just by putting pen down or just by looking it and it requires some more calculations, then I suggest you leave that question. In the first iteration, you complete all the 65 questions. Just look into all the 65 questions. Any question you can able to solve without putting pen down or sometimes doing a little calculation will give you an answer. solve that questions and go next. If any question taking more time, just leave and go to the next question. And don't be panic. Don't be panic. If you panic, if you get panic, that will causes an effect on some easy questions also. And in the second iteration, I suggest you, whichever the questions you left, I suggest you do some little more calculations and do some proper analysis on the questions, okay, and try to solve them. While solving any such questions, if it is taking more than 5 minutes of time, more than 5 minutes, sometimes more than 3 to 4 minutes of time, leave that question. Go for the next question. More than 3 to 4 minutes, leave that question and go for the next question. Complete the second iteration. In the last iteration, means only tough questions are left, where it is killing your time. Don't worry, spend sufficient time to answer those questions. Take minimum 5 to 6 minutes of time, or even sometimes it may take beyond that. But if you feel if you can able to answer those questions after 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 minutes also, then I suggest you to work and do proper analysis. It means you have to see all the 65 questions in 3 iterations. This 3 iteration strategy is very, very helpful, right? Do this way. When from the month of January 1st. January 1st, write first mock test. January 2nd, you write second mock test. After writing mock test, what I suggest is, once test is completed, just perform self-analysis. How many correct answers? How many wrong answers? That wrong answers are from which subject, which topic? I suggest you to revise those topics of that particular subject on the day itself. It means in the first mock test, out of 65 questions, assume you have able to solve only 5 questions. Then 65 wrong answers, 65 wrong questions. I suggest you revise all the 65 questions. Means topics related to all the 65 questions. You revise it, try to solve all that 60 questions by the end of the day. Then go for the second test. Whenever it comes to the second test, definitely you might see some questions which are related to the topics that you have revised in the previous day. So definitely the number of correct questions to answer will going to be increased. This is the best strategy. Suppose in the second day, assuming you might have solved 10 correct questions, 55 wrong questions. Do the same thing. Revise all those topics. Revise all those topics related to that questions. Means 55 topics, you revise it by the end of the day and then go for a sleep. Then go with the third day. Again mock test. By the third day, before the third day, in the first and second mock test when you have written, in the first day you made 60 wrong answers, 60 topics are revised. In the second day, 55 wrong answers, 55 topics have revised. Means almost 115 topics you have revised. In the third day, you can find most of the questions related to that 115 topics. So what happens slowly? Slowly the number of correct answers are going to be increased, number of wrong answers are going to be decreased, and every day you analyze where you are strong, where you are weak, what is your strong subject, what is your weak subject. Focus on that weak areas so that you can able to get success. I suggest you write every day one mock test from the January 1st to January 30. At least 30 mock tests. If possible, make it 50 mock tests. That is definitely help you in cracking the GATE examination. It is a concept called do mistakes, learn from the mistakes, not to repeat the mistakes. This will be the best strategy, what I feel, and I suggested to many students and we got succeeded. Okay, this is what I can suggest you at this 60 days of preparation. In the December month, first complete all revisions, do topic wise test, grand test, and do proper revision of all subjects. From the January month onwards, doing mock test is compulsory. Without mock test, you can't write the exam directly, and even while writing the mock test also, you follow the 3 iteration strategy. First easy questions, then moderate questions, then tough questions. If you do it, then only your brain will be practiced. Directly it will not come on the day of examination. So minimum 30, make up to 50 mock tests to write. This is compulsory. So in your preparation strategy, what ACE is offering? ACE is offering mock test series. For GATE 2026, you can scan the QR code to register that mock test exam. And also ACE is conducting pre-GATE 2026. Pre-GATE 2026 for CSIT on 18th January 2026, 10:30 a.m. onwards. In the afternoon session, we have a DA paper, and CSIT paper is on 18th January 10:30, and DA paper on 18th January 3:30 p.m. So we are going to extend our helping hand for your rank by giving mock test series and pre-GATE exam. I suggest you to write all the mock tests. And in ACE Engineering Academy, we have 24 mock tests totally. And I suggested you to write minimum of 30. In that 24 mock tests, you can find in ACE Engineering Academy test series itself. That will be definitely helpful for you in your preparation. I hope this session is useful for you. And here we have discussed all the key topics to be focused, along with how to prepare, how to plan the schedule for the next 60 days. And wishing you all the best. Thank you.